Who's the voice that comes in your head when you think of wrestling greatest moments? From the times that gave you chills, like where JR was like, oh my God, they done broke up in half. Or other times where JR is just making a bunch of jokes that got you laughing on the floor watching Monday Night Raw. Right now, we're breaking down the top 10 commentators, in my opinion. Of course, I want you to drop in the comments who are your top 10 or top 5 commentators of all time. We're going to start off at number 10. Corey Graves. Now, he has a lot of controversy going on because it's an unfortunate situation with Triple H and Creative not being on the same page with Corey Graves. Corey Graves started out at NXT, man. He was a wrestler. He was one of the great wrestlers that came up with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the Final Four women, Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. Just a lot of great talent. He was coming up with those guys, man, and he was really making good strides in the wrestling community. But after a series of concussions, 2014, Triple H gave him an opportunity of a lifetime. He transitioned into commentary, and from 2014 to 2024, or even 25, well, we just getting into 25, but for a good solid 10 years, Corey Graves had put on a superb performance, holding down commentary in some of wrestling's roughest muddy waters, man. We had some horrible creative throughout the 10 years, man, and for Corey Graves to push through and still give these wrestlers character and still be enthused in the darkest times, man, and still to push through and continuously to show up and continuously to get better. Corey Graves is definitely in my top 10. Now, I want to see WWE fix the things they got going on with Corey Graves because he doesn't deserve a lot that's going on. We'll see what the future holds for that. I wish Corey Graves the best in 2025. He deserves nothing but opportunity for the work he put in with WWE. Now, for my number 9, I got Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Now, this is one of the first people I ever heard commentate, man. And Vince McMahon, he started off as a commentator, you know. He started off with his father. It used to be called, before even WWF, it was called WWWF, man. And he was working with his father, and that's how he first got his feet wet, learning the business, learning the ropes, knowing how to call matches and build characters, man. We didn't know Vince McMahon was a villain until the 90s, you know, when the screw job happened with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and that's when it was exposed that he is the owner of the company. Back then, it wasn't no internet like that, you know what I mean? You had a few stragglers that was on the internet a little bit, but it wasn't like everybody, so a lot of works could get put over, and Vince McMahon, behind that commentary table, man, I really like the work he done. Now, I know a lot of y'all probably gonna get mad because a lot of y'all probably don't think Vince McMahon belongs in the top 10. Y'all probably think Taz or somebody else that's not on the list should. But I'm telling you right now, Vince McMahon, just that voice, that character, his transition, but just him as a commentator alone, I loved Vince McMahon. I loved hearing Vince McMahon commentate. I remember he was commentating, I believe it was WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 9, a few of them WrestleManias that I really, really enjoyed, man. I gotta put Vince McMahon in there. I got him at number 9. Number 8, we got the legend Tony Schiavone. He is still going hard in AEW right now, man. He started off in the 80s, Jim Crockett promotion, WCW, man. And he spent a tiny bit of time in the WWE, but he made his name in WCW. He was the man at WCW. He was the voice at WCW. Nitro, Thunder, when WCW beat WWE for them 83 weeks, he was the voice of that, man. And Tony Schiavone is a historic commentator, man. I can't really take nothing from him. Even though I was on the WWF side at the time, I still know that voice. I still know Tony Schiavone, and even what he's doing now with AEW is incredible. Tony Khan has struggling with creative, man, and Tony Schiavone, he shows up every week and he puts these superstars over and he sits through the collisions and he sits through whatever he has to sit through to push through, man. I got Tony Schiavone at number 8 in my top 10. At number 7, we got Joey Styles, ECW, the voice of ECW. Paul Heyman putting Joey Styles as the voice of ECW was so important for the company. It was important for ECW not to have an old WWF guy, not to have a WCW guy, a fresh voice, a fresh face that was just enthused and motivated to take the company to the next level. Now, we all know what happened to ECW, got bought out by WWE. It didn't really last after that. But the years ECW thrived, Joey Styles was the voice of that, man. And I think a lot of people really need to do your homework, do your research on Joey Styles, man, because a lot of these other dudes, they're cool, man, but Joey Styles is really that guy, and I just wished he got a bigger opportunity on a bigger stage, man. I would love to hear Joey Styles on a WrestleMania card, the whole card, not just one match, the whole card, man. I would love to see Joey Styles get an opportunity at ring commentary, man. This dude was such an underrated talent, man. I'm not sure what really happened, but I got him at number 7 at the top 10. Number 6, and this might be a lot of people number 1. We just heard him on Saturday Night Live. Jesse the Body Ventura. Been commentating since the mid-1980s. He started off with Gorilla Monsoon, Vince McMahon, and in the 90s, Jesse the Body Ventura was so important for Saturday Night Live. The early WrestleManias, 1, 2, 3. I can't remember which WrestleManias he was on, but yeah, man, he was so important, man. He was such a heel commentator, and it paved the way for other heel commentators coming up in the game. Jesse the Body Ventura, a staple, a WWE Hall of Famer. You have to put him in number 6. I know a lot of y'all probably be mad that he's not in my top 5, but he's very, very close, man. Number 5, we got Michael Cole. Started broadcasting smack dab in the middle of the Attitude Era, 1997, man. Well, actually, he joined the WWE in 97 because before he was doing like ring announcing, he was doing backstage segments, getting bullied by The Rock and all these other people. You know, he was a great, great character. Then he transitioned into doing ring announcing, and he never really looked back, man. Michael Cole is like, if you put Michael Cole number 1, I cannot argue with that. You know what I mean? This is my personal list of the commentators I like. But if I have to make a list of the commentators and I put my biasness aside, I might have to put Michael Cole number 1. Just the consistency, the hard work he put over. He's the voice of the greatest story ever told in wrestling, which is Cody Rhodes winning the title at WrestleMania 40. He coined the word finish the story. He puts over John Cena as the GOAT. You don't really need to do that, but with Michael Cole voice saying the GOAT, you know what I mean? It's like Michael Cole is just a staple, man. And without Michael Cole, it'll be hard for people like Corey Graves and these other young commentators to come up. Pat McAfee should be an honorary mention or something like that, but I feel like he still need more time for me to even mention with these greats. But yeah, Michael Cole has just been a great asset to WWE throughout his long-standing career. He's been there a very long time. He'll be there much longer than that. And man, I'm just happy to see Michael Cole. I got him at number 5, though, personally. Now, this next one, he's one of the first voices when I laid my eyes on wrestling that I heard. None other than the Brain, Bobby the Brain Heenan, man. And man, just outside of being a Hall of Fame manager, a Hall of Fame personality character, he's a Hall of Fame commentator, man. Like, If we was watching in the early 90s, Bobby the Brain Heenan, man, just being the heel, antagonizing Vince McMahon, antagonizing Gorilla Monsoon, just being just a perfect heel, man. He brung that presence. He brung that next level commentary to WWE, man. And I really missed characters like Bobby the Brain Heenan, man. You could tell he cared about his work, just creative, nothing got redundant. He paved the way for heel commentators like Corey Graves, Wade Barrett, Jerry the King Lawler, and anyone else. You know what I mean? Outside of Jesse, I feel like Jesse Ventura or Bobby the Brain Heenan was two commentators that were heels that paved the way for a lot of other heels commentators moving forward. Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of the greatest commentators to ever go into the business. Now, I'm mentioning Bobby the Brain Heenan, we got our number 3 commentator, my personal opinion, Gorilla Monsoon. Man, this was my heart, man. This was my heart. Y'all can tell, man. My last name, Monsoon. Gorilla Monsoon, man. Oh, man. He another one that started in the 80s, and what made Gorilla Monsoon so good was just his fashion, his smooth deep voice. He'd be having on the shades, man, and he'll just bring us a presence, just a warmth to the commentating. You know what I mean? He was more of a babyface commentator. He was good for the good guys more, but just how him and Bobby Heenan, their chemistry together was just unmatched. You know what I mean? Like, I really, really enjoyed them. I really, really missed them, man. And one of my favorite things to do is to just go back and watch these old wrestling footage of just Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon commentating these big events, Saturday Night Live, like I explained, WrestleManias, whatever they were. You know what I mean? Gorilla Monsoon was one of the greatest commentators, hands down. You know what I mean? Wrestling is so empty without a voice. Without these different voices, if wrestling would just be wrestling, literally, like amateur wrestling. Like, we wouldn't care. It wouldn't be nobody to narrate the stories for us. So I think the importance of these commentators are often underrated. All right, now number 2 out of the top 10 commentators, in my opinion, of all time, none other than one half of the voice of the Attitude Era, Jerry the King Lawler. He came up as a wrestler in Memphis in the 70s, the 80s, 1992. He got his break in the WWE being a commentator, and man, well, you talk about might be the greatest heel commentator of all time. When you talk about the half of the voice of the Attitude Era, that alone puts you at an echelon that is going to be hard for a lot of people to reach, man. One half of the greatest era in professional wrestling. The weight he had to carry, man, it's just, you can't even fathom that, man. And even after that, still pushing through to the golden era, and everything he did after that was just incredible, man. But he was the voice, one of the voices of the Attitude Era. And I don't think a lot of people understand how important that role was, man. Even when he first started out, when WWE was pushing through that hard era where it was looking shaky, they was about to go out of business, man, and him and Vince McMahon used to commentate, go back and forth. He's still putting over these wrestlers that was having a hard time getting over with the people and the crowd. And man, Jerry the King Lawler, the Hall of Famer, man. And it's just like, we don't get many talents like that in our lifetime. You know what I mean? His ability to tell jokes. He has unlimited jokes. He tells unlimited stories. He put unlimited heels over, man. Jerry the King Lawler in my top 10 ring commentators of all time, man. And man, I wish all the best for Jerry Lawler, man. Now we're gonna go to the number 1 commentator of all time, and he should be on a lot of y'all lists, and I'm talking about none other than good old JR. We're talking about the voice of the Attitude Era. Now, if you want to say he was half of it and you want to give Jerry headline, I'm not going to get mad at that. You know what I mean? Because both could be true. But when we're talking about putting over the greatest star Stone Cold Steve Austin professional wrestling has ever seen, when you talking about storytelling, being able to put other people over, when you talking about characters, when he did the interview with Kane and Kane burnt him and all of that stuff backstage, and he just having all this stuff going on in the storylines, man, JR was a staple when you talk about ring commentators. Man, he been commentating since the 70s, man. He started off in Mid-South Atlantic wrestling. His first commentary break, I never forget, WrestleMania 9, 93. I was watching it. I was 5 years old. I remember JR, man. And from there, JR never really looked back. And for me to be saying the dude started in 1993 WrestleMania to now, to this very day, he'll pull up the All In London and still call a match. Jerry Lawler legacy is unmatched. He's a Hall of Famer. And I really feel like we might disagree on a lot of things on this list. But if JR is number one, I don't think we should be disagreeing too much about that, man. There's no right or wrong answer if you ask me, for real, man. It could be all subjective. But, man, JR, in my opinion, I got him number one, whether I'm being biased or my personal opinion or whether I'm just talking in general. JR is the number one commentator professional wrestler has ever seen. So, salute the good old JR, man. And let me know in the comments what y'all think about this list, and put y'all list in the comments. If 10 too much, just give me 5. What are y'all 5 top ring commentators and professional wrestler? Let me know what y'all think. It's Bobby Monsoon 215. Like, comment, subscribe. Bow.